do this in two different ways as we start out that journey for phonics. First off, each day you want to introduce new spellings. So spellings they have not learned yet, you're going to introduce a new spelling. And you're going to use the hear, see, say, write routine that I'm going to show you in a minute to do that. And then also you want to every day review the previously learned spellings. If we don't get enough deliberate practice going, remember that little video of all the dendrites firing that we saw on the first day? If we don't get enough of that going on for them to wire together, it's going to be like that student you forgot his name that you had in your class 10 years ago. And it'll just get pruned and kind of wander off. So about 10 to 20 minutes a day, I'm going to practice all the spellings I've already learned. And I can do this 3 or more days a week. I'm going to do a visual review of the sound spelling correspondence. And I'm going to do auditory kinesthetic practice and then blending into words. So I'm going to show you what that can look like. And we're now deeply into the word reading, the decoding part of the strand. So here's this universal instructional sequence for phonics of hear, see, say, write. I use this to introduce my new spellings. So I hear and I see, then I say, then I write. Here is the phoneme. So I'm just hearing the sound. And that could be later on, it could be a syllable, it could be a word. Maybe I'm at the word level to hear something first and I'm identifying the words within a sentence, but I'm going to hear first. Then I'm going to see, I'm going to map on that grapheme to that phoneme, that spelling. That's the sound spelling card. So I'm introducing the card is dolphin. The sound is D. We spell that with a D or with ED at the end of a verb. Then I'm going to go right into blending words together. And this is not just oral blending that I'm hearing. This is, I'm actually going to see it and read it. I'm putting the words together, putting the sounds together to make a word that I'm pulling off the page. So you see, I now have letters going on there. And after that, I will have practice writing words with that sound symbol correspondence. It is very important that when you get to the writing words phase of this, that it's not copying. I don't know how many times I have gone into a classroom and we have the extra workbook going on and we have the document camera, and the practice that the student gets to write the words with that sound is just copying. They're just copying what you are doing, and therefore they're not engaging the brain. They're not involved in productive struggle, which means they're not going to remember that sound and that symbol go together. They're just going to always look up at you and write what you wrote. So we want it to be that the student has to struggle and say, okay, the word is cat. K, 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 at. What letter is that? You want them struggling and trying to retrieve that from their brain so that they're building that new neural pathway. Otherwise, it's just going to be the dendrites floating off. So I can't say that enough. After we do that sequence, we go right into a decodable book. We apply what we have learned in a decodable book. And this is the sequence that you have in your basal. It's right there. I'll have my phonemic awareness. This one's for wonders. I'll have my phonemic awareness, right? So I have phoneme categorization. Then I'm going to introduce the sound spelling card. Then I'm going to start blending words together with that short O sound that I learned over here that goes with the sound spelling card. And then I'm going to write words with short O, and I'll go right into a decodable book with short O. Same thing when we have benchmark, it's the hear, see, say, write. I'm going to hear the phoneme, I'm going to attach the sound spelling card, blend those sounds together. I'll have practice then with writing words in that, and then I will go right into a shared read and then a decodable book. And I actually think I'm missing a slide here, but right into the decodable book. So in thinking about that, that's how I'm going to introduce a new sound spelling correspondence. I also need to review every day. Once I've taught that this is a way to spell this sound, I need to practice it daily, all the ones I've learned. So I should have a visual review of that sound spelling correspondence where the students would see the letter and then say the sound. So I might have in your program, you have lots of little cards, and those little cards will have letters on them. And so I might be holding up the card that has this on it. The students would see this and they would say, B says B. So you have these cards and you're reviewing how we spell these sounds. They see the letter, they say the sound. They see the letter, they say the sound. All of the ones we've already learned, they would be practiced. Then I'm going to want them to do auditory kinesthetic. So I'm going to connect that to some other modality. So I'm going to have them hear the sound. So I might say B. And so they can, and I'm going to have you do it. Take your 2 fingers, and I want you on the table to tell me what letter makes that sound. So if I say B, you would say, as you're drawing it on the table, you would say, B says B. B says B. I'm sorry, I'm flipping it around. B says B. And I give you another sound, and you go ahead and you can do this in the salt box, in the gel packets. So they get this auditory kinesthetic practice of, I heard a sound. I think about visually, what letter is that? I write the letter, and I am saying the sound as I'm writing the letter. B says B, C says K. Then I'm going to go into blending words together. I could do that in boards, where we're going to try that in just a second, digitally. If we were together physically, I might have what's called a blending board, which is really like a little tray where I put those letter cards and I'm going to form words. I'm going to be pointing to the letters as they say the sounds to blend words together. And I'm using those known sound spellings that we have already learned as a review. So here's what it might look like and what you would be hearing. This sound symbol review of our previously taught. And it could be up to 30 sound spellings that you know, depending on how many you have really gotten to automaticity. And we'd like to get to the point where everyone is at 80% mastery of a sound symbol correspondence, to be able to then retire that sound symbol correspondence from my pack that I'm going to be practicing. Once my kids are at 80% with a particular sound spelling correspondence, I can be like, okay, I know they know I know they know that M is and I'm going to pull that one out and maybe put in another one to practice. So that's my practice part. The visual review, I show the sound spelling card. Students say the sound. D says D. If it has more than one sound, it also says, for example, C says K. C also says S, if I've learned that spelling. Auditory kinesthetic, I say the phoneme or the sound. The students write it in the shaving cream, gel pack, salt little packet, whatever it is, and they're going to say, C says K. Then I'm going to blend the words together. And here I can do nonsense words, or I can do real words and just have them give you a thumbs up if it's a real word after they blend it together, or a thumbs down if it's a nonsense word. When I'm introducing my new sound spellings, I'm going to teach all the new orthographic patterns one at a time according to my sequence of hear, see, say, write. I'm going to teach decodable words using this orthographic routine of that hear, see, say, write. But I also want to teach high frequency words, which we sometimes will refer to as red words. We teach those by doing the spelling. And I'll show you in just a minute what I mean by the difference of that. High frequency words could be 2 different kinds of words. It could be words that I need in order to read a decodable book, like the word like comes up really quickly. It might be a high frequency word for a kindergartner, but it will later on be decodable. So I just tell my kids, you don't know how to spell this word yet. You don't know how to sound this one out yet, but we're going to learn it as a high frequency word and we're going to spell it out, L-I-K-E, like. Once I get to the point where I can decode that word, then I would have them go ahead and sound it out. So there's 2 types of the high frequency words I can't decode yet because I haven't learned that sound spelling correspondence. and words that are not decodable. So let's talk about that. Start with using oral phonemic awareness strategies. So on this slide, there's some links here, 54. We reviewed those oral phonemic awareness strategies earlier, but this is linked to that slide if you wanted to remind yourself. Use the alliteration. So here I'm in the here, I'm hearing things, that part. Teach that mouth placement. They can use mirrors, phoneme phones. So I'm doing it exactly the same way I did my phonemic awareness lesson, but in this case, it's a shorter period of time because I'm then going to map on the spelling of it. I'm going to talk about voiced and unvoiced sounds. So I, for example, can use the sound. Go ahead and make that sound and notice where your teeth are. Your top teeth are on your bottom lip and air is coming out. Now let's do the sound for this here. Notice where your teeth are. They're the same place, right? Now I have my top teeth on the bottom lip and air is coming out. But if I hold my throat, this is voiced. I'm using my vocal cords for that. So those types of things I'm going to want kids to hear and understand. So I'm going to do, I don't feel it in my throat. Same position of the mouth. Vampire, Vinny, vampire. Okay. And so that one is voiced. I'm going to have kids place it using all of these ways we've talked about before, maybe using the hand gestures. And if my sound is, I might use the Fiona found a fish, right? So that's my here part to learn my new ones, my new sound spelling correspondences. C, remember I'm mapping on that sound spelling card. I'll do my sound spelling card routine. The name of the card is dolphin. The sound is D. Spelling is D and ED at the end of a word that is a verb. Talk about, is it a consonant? Is it a vowel? Show them a picture or many pictures of things that begin with D. Brainstorm words with that target sound so you can get all kinds of words. What are some words that begin with D, right? And then I also want to teach kids, how do I form this letter? So on this particular slide 55, there's a great resource for how to form the letters. And this is through Starfall, or if you're at that level. I love this because you can put whatever letters you want and it'll print out. So I can go here on customize, in the space where it says 2, I can go ahead and instead of having it be the lowercase b, I can make that BC. And it tells them the directionality as well. So that's a great resource to use with your little guys when instead of being hand over hand, which you still are going to have to do sometimes, this is great to show them where do I start. So on the C part, when I'm learning the letter, I also want to teach them how to form that letter and make sure when they do it in the sand or the gel, they're doing it that way. Okay. So for example, my sound is going to be, I'm introducing that sound spelling card. Boys and girls, this is the fire card. Fire. Oh, what's that sound? Look at where my teeth are. Look at, there's air coming out. My teeth are on the bottom lip. Let's all make that sound. Okay. How do we spell that sound? We can spell it with an F or we can spell it with a PH sometimes. Which one do we use more often? Oh, the first one, the F, that's right. So we go through this sound spelling card routine, show the pictures, talk about how to form the letter, get some kinesthetic practice in writing it in the sand or the gel while we're saying the sound. Your sound spelling cards give you all of the different spellings of the sounds. You don't have to go and guess. And then I think I have the benchmark and adelante on there as well. After I do here, I hear the phoneme, I say, attach the sound spelling card. Then I can, here C. Now I'm on say, and I'm going to blend, and that means reading the words, right? I'm going to start blending these sounds together as I see the representations with those spellings. So I'm blending words together like this. I can do that with a blending board. This isn't a blending board. So I have sh. I'm going to point to this one, and the kids will say sh, I, p. All of it together, ship, okay? I can do whiteboards, I can do Elkonin boxes, and we're going to do these later on in a couple of slides. Use a blending routine, sorry. So you could do sound by sound blending, which would be sh, I. Blend, I would blend after the vowel, sh. What's this last sound? P. Ship. Or I could also do vowel first blending if the student has trouble holding the vowel. Sometimes you get to the point where they forget the middle sound, that vowel, and so you can have them do that sound first if you want to. I'm going to show you that in just a second. You can point your fingers to emphasize the grapheme. So for example, this word ship, I can do sh, I, p, ship, sh, I, p, ship. Okay. I did 2 taps for sh, because of the fact that it's 2 letters to get the kids to remember it. So that's something else that you can do for them. You can do small group, and then you also can color code the vowels one color and the consonants another color. So let's do some practice here. We're going to blend this word, and you can have your mic off for this, but I do want you to be vocalizing it at home. We're going to blend the word that we see here. When we're blending, don't give pictorial input because it gives the word away, right? I'm not going to have a picture of a fan on here. So I'm just going to point to the word, the sound rather, point to that letter, and I'll say, okay, sound, blend, fa, sound, blend, fan. And then I would show the pictorial input for confirmation. So this is blending our words. I can also do vowel first, sound, ah. And this is a student who always gets lost. They'll go ah, and then they'll say fun, right? So I'm going to do vowel first, so they're holding that vowel sound. Sound, ah. Sound, ah, fa. Sound, fan. And again, the pictorial input afterwards when we're blending. So I'm going to then do some 1-syllable word dictation. So I'm on to the right portion of it now. Hear, see, say, write. Now I'm going to go ahead and dictate some words using the target sound. I'll use the word in a sentence. I'll start with words and then move them into writing simple sentences with those words in it with the target sound. I can do pounding and tapping. So if I have a sentence, and actually sentence is over here, but I'll do pounding and tapping of the word. So cat, 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 cat. I can write it on the paper then after I do the pounding and tapping. That's why I pound with the hand I don't write with. And I can also use Elkonin boxes if I want. And you also can have students add lines underneath if more than one letter is in a grapheme. So let's say that I am doing a blending for a student and they write a blending dictation routine. And I say my word is cat, at. How many sounds, how many spellings, how many sound spelling cards rather. So I would write 3 lines. That's coming up in just a second. But let's say the word was ship, like the one we had. I could have the student on the sh line. I could have them draw 2 little lines underneath that 1 line. The 1 represents the phoneme, which is sh, 1 sound. But to remind them that that's 2 letters, I could say, which one of those had 2 letters? And have them do 2 little lines underneath the big line. Then when I get to the sentence dictation, they can pound the words in the sentence. So it would be, I like dogs. So I like dogs. How many words are in that sentence? 4. Okay, now draw 4 lines on your paper. And I am going to then start writing the words. I like dogs. First word, I. Second word, like. And how do you spell those? Okay. They can put 2 lines when they're writing for a red word that doesn't follow the rules, and we'll see a demo of red words in just a little bit. If you want them to practice the capital letter at the beginning and the end punctuation, you could have them put 4 lines for I like dogs. My sentence is I like dogs. I like dogs. How many words? 4. Okay, I'm going to put 4 lines. I like, oops, sorry, 3. I can't count. I like dogs. I would put a box here, and I would put a triangle here, so they know capital letter, period. And then I would have them try and write the words. And I would use CUPS, that acronym of capitalization, usage, punctuation, spelling. Check your sentence. Do you have a capital letter? Do you have the end punctuation? Is your word spelled correctly? And they can check their spellings, like dogs, dogs, by tapping it out as well. Now let's do a dictation routine. So I give a picture first when I'm doing the dictation routine for writing the word. So before I was reading words, which is blending, and now I am going to go ahead and encode. So I did decoding, now I'm going to encode, which is writing the word fan. So I give the pictorial input first when I want them to write a word. So my word is fan. Let's do the sounds in the word fan. I have a fan to help me keep cool when it's hot outside. Let's do the sounds. Fan. How many sounds are in the word fan? Draw those lines on your whiteboard. So they're going to go ahead and draw the lines on their whiteboard while I'm drawing it on either chart paper or whiteboard. So there were 3 sounds in the word fan. Okay, what was that first sound, boys and girls? What's that first sound? Well, what sound spelling card was that? Oh, that was the fire card. Okay, we have 2 ways to spell the sound on the fire card. We're going to use the first one to spell our word fan. Let's see, what was that second sound? Our word is fan. What's that middle sound? You see how important it is to place the phoneme? What's that middle sound? Okay, what sound spelling card is that? Oh yeah, that's the apple card. There's only one way to spell the sound, so that's going to be an A. Fa. What's my last sound in fan? What's my last sound? Okay, what sound spelling card is that, boys and girls? I did that, fa. What sound spelling card is that, boys and girls? It's the nest card. Oh, I have a few different ways to spell on the nest card, but I know these 2, well, this one has to be at the beginning of a word, and this one is hardly ever used. So it's going to be the N. I'm going to spell that sound N, and I'm going to blend it all together. My word is fight. So what happens when I have a grapheme, a way to spell a sound that is more than 1 letter? I still do the same process. My word is fight. The boxers had a fight. Fight. Let's do the sounds in fight. Still 3 sounds. So I do 3 letters on my whiteboard. Sorry, 3 lines on my whiteboard because I hear 3 sounds. Same process. What's the first sound? What sound spelling card is that? How do I spell it? What's the middle sound? What sound spelling card is that? Now it's the 5 card. How do I spell that sound? Oh, I'm going to spell that. This is one of those funny words where it's going to use an IGH. And I'm going to put them all in the same line because these all represent 1 sound. Your lines are for your phonemes, all for the sound. And then at the end, what sound spelling card is that? Oh, after the vowel sound, we always want to blend. So that's why that arrow's coming in. So I would be And I would do the spelling here, and then I would have them, okay, let's blend these two together. I. Now I would go to the t. What sound spelling card is that? And I spell that t at the end with a T, okay?